Bienvenidos! Today we're going to learn about descriptive adjectives in Spanish. Adjectives are words that describe nouns, and in Spanish, the adjectives always agree in number with the noun that they modify, and sometimes they agree in gender with the noun that they modify. And there are just some other punctuation things that we need to be aware of when we're talking about descriptive adjectives in Spanish. Now, in Spanish, the word for tall is alto. Alto. Or, if the noun it's describing is a feminine noun, it would be alta. If the noun is plural, it would be altos. If the noun is masculine, plural altos. If it's feminine, plural altas. So there are actually 4 ways to write tall in Spanish. Masculine singular, alto, masculine singular plural, masculine plural, altos, feminine singular would be alta, and feminine plural would be altas. Now here are a couple of examples. Las niñas altas. Now what difference do you notice here between English and Spanish? We wouldn't say the girls tall in English, we would say the tall girls. But in Spanish, when the adjective is directly modifying the noun, it comes after the noun instead of before it. Las niñas altas. Now if we wanted to finish that sentence, we could say the tall girls study a lot. Las niñas altas estudian mucho. Okay? Now if we wanted to just say the girls are tall, then the descriptive adjective would come after the verb, just like in English. Las niñas son altas. It still agrees in gender and number with the noun that it's describing, but it's not directly modifying that noun. It comes after the verb because we're talking about a way that the girls are being. They are tall. In the first example, the adjective is directly modifying that noun, so we put it right after the noun. But in both cases, the adjective is going to agree in gender and number with the noun that it's describing. Now for some adjectives that don't end in A or O, they don't agree in gender with the noun they modify, but they still agree in number. So for an adjective like inteligente, there are only 2 forms. It's singular inteligente or plural inteligentes. So here's an example. Las mujeres inteligentes estudian mucho. The intelligent women study a lot. And notice again the placement of the adjective that directly modifies the noun. It's placed right after the noun. Now if we're using it to describe the women and talk about the way they are, rather than directly modifying the noun, we would say las mujeres son inteligentes. The women are intelligent. And still, it agrees in number with the noun that it's modifying. Mujeres is plural, inteligentes is plural. If it was just one woman, la mujer inteligente. Okay? Joven ends in a consonant. And like inteligente or interesante, joven is going to become plural if the noun it's describing is plural. And we will also add an accent mark, because when we add es on the end of a noun or an adjective or a noun to make it plural, oftentimes it changes the pronunciation unless we add an accent mark. So for joven, when we make it plural, it's jóvenes, and we add an accent mark over that first O. So the young children would be los hijos jóvenes. The young children study a lot. Los hijos jóvenes estudian mucho. Okay? Now if it's not directly modifying the noun, but we're just using it to describe how the children are, los hijos son jóvenes. still it agrees in number with the noun it modifies. Notice in the first example, when it's directly modifying the noun, it comes right after the noun. Now for a word like trabajador, in Spanish, trabajador, because it ends in OR, is going to agree in gender and number with the noun it modifies. If the noun is feminine, it's going to become trabajadora, and we're going to add an A to the end. And it's also going to agree in number, so we have 4 forms again, just like with alto. But the masculine form does not have an O, it's just OR, trabajador. The feminine is trabajadora, and then we have trabajadores or trabajadoras. So if it's one girl, it will be mi prima trabajadora, my hardworking cousin, estudia mucho. Oh, we can't have estudian. Mi prima trabajadora estudia mucho. If I just wanted to say my cousin is hardworking, mi prima es trabajadora. Now, if we were talking about boy cousins and multiple cousins, mis primos, we have to change the possessive adjective and the descriptive adjective. Mis primos trabajadores estudian mucho. Mis primos trabajadores estudian mucho. Mis primos son trabajadores. So that's how the OR adjectives work. Now, adjectives of quantity come before the noun they modify. So for a word like mucho, it agrees in gender and number with the noun it modifies, just like alto, because it ends in O. However, because it's an adjective of quantity, it comes before the noun it modifies. So if we wanted to say, there are a lot of students, hay muchos estudiantes, and that's assuming that estudiantes is masculine and it is plural, so we have muchos. If it was feminine students, we would have hay muchas estudiantes. Now, mucho by itself, it's kind of hard to have singular muchos, but it means a lot, and in this example, they study a lot. Estudian mucho. Ellos estudian mucho. So mucho means a lot. Muchos also means a lot, but it's going to agree in gender and number with the noun it modifies. Gran and grande actually have 2 different meanings. Gran means great, like wonderful. Grande means large. Okay? So there are 2 different meanings. So, la familia grande means a big family. La gran familia means the great family, the wonderful family, not the large family. Grande is going to agree in number with the noun that it modifies. Gran is simply going to be gran before the noun that it modifies. Now, bueno, and malo are very similar. Bueno and malo and buen and malo, these can come before or after the noun they modify. Buen is the masculine form of bueno in front of a singular masculine noun. Mal is the masculine singular form of the adjective to describe a masculine singular noun. Un buen amigo means the same thing as un amigo bueno. Okay? Una mala silla means the same thing as una silla mala. A bad chair is a bad chair, whether you put mala before or after. Buen amigo, amigo bueno is a good friend, whether you put it before or after. So these two descriptive adjectives break the rules. Another type of descriptive adjective is adjective of nationality. And adjectives of nationality do not become capitalized in Spanish. In English, we capitalize adjectives of nationality, but in Spanish, they're not capitalized. So, for example, estadounidense means someone from the United States. Estadounidense is not capitalized, and because it ends in E, just like inteligente, it's going to have a singular and plural form, but no masculine or feminine form. Now, adjectives that end in a consonant and express nationality are going to have a masculine, feminine, singular, plural form, like inglés, somebody from England. Inglés is the masculine singular form. Inglesa is the feminine singular form, and both of these would become plural if the noun was masculine plural or feminine plural. Ingleses, we would add es. Drop the accent mark. Inglesas, just add an s. For your nationality adjective that ends in an O or an A, it's going to be just like alto. It's going to agree in gender and number with the noun it modifies. Take the adjective of nationality for Mexican, mexicano. Mexicano, mexicana, mexicanos, mexicanas. But notice that these adjectives of nationality are not capitalized in Spanish.